What is up, Sexy Beast? Bald Lava Lamp here, and today we're going to be taking the KAR98K and putting it up against the Ballista and seeing which is the better weapon to have. So let's go ahead and get the shit started. Now this might be the most unfair comparison I've ever done because, as we all know, the KAR98 is basically a wonder weapon. It's so goddamn overpowered, and it's kinda unfair to put it up against the Ballista. But since they're both bolt action rifles, I thought it would at least be interesting to see them compared, so that's exactly what we're gonna do here today. The first thing I'm gonna do is let you guys watch and listen to each of these weapons, just that we guys can actually get a feel for what they look and sound like, and ultimately, for yourself, decide which one you guys prefer. So here you go. Alright, so now let's actually get into the background information of both these weapons, since they both actually are real weapons, unlike Black Ops 3. So the KAR98K, or the KAR98 short, was actually a pretty big deal of its time. It was a shorter version of the Mauser, and the Mauser basically evolved from the GUR98. And this was definitely one of those weapons that was like a turning point in weapon history. You have the KAR98, you got like the AK-47, you got the STG. You know how there's like certain weapons that are just like a huge improvement from what people were previously using? The Mauser and the KAR98 kind of fit in that category. The KAR98 was actually introduced to the German military in June 21st of 1935 and was used throughout the entirety of World War II. Even though the Germans were actually using fully automatics, this still stayed the main service rifle throughout World War II for the Germans. And if you do that, that means there's going to be a shit ton of KAR98s lying around, and when the Russians got a hold of them, they kind of took a lot of them back because the Russians didn't have that many guns. Basically, the Russians' tactics were the Germans have to reload sometime. And you can actually tell if you have a Soviet-captured KAR98 if it has a little X stamp on the side of the receiver. And I'm not gonna lie, that would actually be pretty badass, and I would actually love to have one. But the bolt-action KAR98, which is chambered in 7.92 by 57mm Mauser, was a huge innovation at the time and helped influence a lot of other weapons that we actually have nowadays. So now on to the Ballista. So the Ballista is actually a real weapon. It's called the FN Ballista in real life, and it's actually made in Belgium, which is pretty interesting because I didn't know that. And the company that actually made it, I'm going to try to pronounce this right, is called FN Herstal. I believe that's how you, hopefully that's how you pronounce it, I don't fucking know. And one interesting thing that I actually read about the Ballista was you can chamber it in a couple different things. You can use 308 Winchester, you can use 300 Winchester Magnum, or 338 Lapua. Now, if you actually have 338 Lapua, you can only carry 5 to 8 rounds. If you have 300 Winchester Magnum, you can use 6 or 10, or if you have 308 Winchester, you can use 7 or 15. So it looks like the unupgraded Ballista in Call of Duty Zombies uses 338 Lapua, and it looks like once you actually do upgrade it, you go from 338 Lapua to 300 Winchester Magnum, which is kind of interesting. Alright, so now that we have the background information on both these weapons done, let's go and start doing these tests. The first test we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the fire rate. I line up both the weapons side by side and I start shooting at the exact same time. The KAR98 is going to be a little bit slower than the Ballista. The KAR98K's fire rate is going to be 48 rounds per minute, while the Ballista's is going to be 51. That's not a lot, like at all. Especially when you think of a lot of other weapons and zombies having like 700 or 1,200 rounds per minute. 48 and 51 isn't really that big of a difference, but I guess when it comes to bolt actions it is. When you just think of it like in the grand scheme of zombies, they're pretty minuscule. But still, it is worth pointing out that the Ballista is going to be able to pop off a couple rounds faster than the KAR98. Alright, next up we're going to be taking a look at accuracy, and this is going to be recoil and hip fire. Now when it comes to recoil, neither of these weapons like have any. Those shots are going to go into the same exact spot every single time you shoot. You could basically just create one hole with all the rounds you're actually using for both of these weapons. So when it comes to accuracy, they're both very, very accurate, except for when you hip fire. Now I would never recommend hip firing with either of these weapons, that's just a bad choice, don't do it. But if for some reason you say YOLO, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, I would rather hip fire with the KAR98. When I was using the Ballista, that thing was going everywhere. It was hitting the ground in front of me, it was going straight up into the sky. You couldn't control where that thing was gonna land. While with the KAR98, it actually was staying within the reticles, so if I was to hit fire with either of these things, I'm definitely choosing the KAR98, but I'm not a barbarian, so I would never hit fire with either of these weapons. Alright, and lastly, before we actually get to these upgraded weapons, let's go ahead and take a look at the reload speed. I start reloading at the exact same time, and the KAR98 is going to be a little bit faster. The KAR98 doesn't have to worry about taking a magazine out, you just load it with a clip. While the Ballista, you actually kind of do, so the KAR98 is going to be a little bit faster when it comes to reload speed. Alright, so now let's go ahead and take a look at both these weapons upgraded. So the KAR98, when you actually upgrade it, becomes the Armageddon. It's going to do double the damage, its fire rate is not going to increase, it's going to stay the same. It used to carry 5 in its magazine or clip, I'm just going to say magazine because it sounds better, but when you actually upgrade it, that 5 is going to turn into an 8. It used to carry 50 in stock, and now it carries 60 in stock. So you carry a little bit more ammo, but not that much. While the Ballista, on the other hand, once you actually upgrade it, is going to turn into the Infused Air Ballist. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Probably not, because I'm illiterate. And once you actually upgrade this thing, it's going to do almost triple the damage that it normally did. Its fire rate is also going to stay the same. It used to carry 8 in its magazine, and now it carries 10. It used to carry 64 in stock, and now it carries 120. And once you actually do upgrade it, you can either have an ACOG or you can go Iron Sight. I would not recommend the ACOG, but I kept it on for the video. So once you actually upgrade both these weapons, nothing really changes. The fire rate, like I said, is going to stay the exact same. Really, the only thing that changes once you actually upgrade these weapons is how much damage they actually do put out. Now, like I said, the KAR98 actually only does double the damage once you actually get this thing upgraded, while the upgraded Ballista can almost do double the damage the upgraded KAR98 can do. So the Ballista is definitely going to have the advantage in terms of power and ammo and fire rate and basically everything besides hip fire and reload speed. But the Ballista does not have one thing, and that's badassery. So I'm going to show you guys some footage of the KAR98 on round 110 because I felt like 50 didn't do it justice. Here's the KAR98 on round 110. It's a one-shot, one-kill. This weapon is probably the greatest weapon of all time. Once you get past round 80, this thing really kicks into overdrive and just becomes the world's greatest weapon. It's going to be one-shotting zombies from halfway across the map. You could shoot through a wall and still kill a zombie. That's how badass the KAR98 becomes. I don't see why a lot more people don't use this weapon. It's really fucking good, especially on early rounds. It's a very cheap weapon. Headshots will help you a lot with points. The KAR98 on early rounds and on late rounds is a fantastic weapon, but on, like middle rounds, I would say, is where it kind of, poops out. And also, it's not good against dogs. Like, it's really, really bad against dogs. Here's me versus round 120 dogs. As you can see, it's taking me multiple and multiple shots to actually kill them, and then I just end up knifing them because knifing them is going to be faster than actually using this weapon. I don't know why they made this thing so shit against dogs, but it is. So the KAR98 has two weaknesses, dogs and middle rounds. I would say like 10 to 80 are kind of its weaknesses. So anywhere in that ballpark, that's where the KAR98 isn't going to shine, but all the other rounds and against all the other zombies and boss zombies, it's going to be perfect. Now the Ballista, on the other hand, is going to be shitty on round 50. It's going to take you way too many shots to actually get a kill. Honestly, this weapon is a really good early round weapon. I would totally recommend it on Origins. It's a fantastic weapon. I would recommend both these weapons on early rounds. They're really, really good. They're really helpful, they're cheap, and they're good headshot machines. But I would probably definitely ditch the Ballista the first chance I got. Whether I'm getting the MP40 or I'm hitting the box, I'm definitely going to ditch it the first chance I get. I'm probably never going to upgrade this on purpose unless I'm doing a challenge or I'm trying to get it for a video. There's just a lot of other better options in the game, especially when it comes to snipers. You can get the DSR, which is a million times better than this weapon. Yes, it is a wall gun, and you can constantly go back and get more ammo, but it just doesn't do enough damage to make up for that. And on round 50, you would have to hit a zombie multiple times to actually get a kill. And really, to me, that's just not even worth it. And also, like I said, I only kept the ACOG on here for the video, but I hate scopes and zombies. Like in multiplayer, you want a hard scope, quick scope, knock yourself out. But in zombies, I absolutely hate having scopes on, so I would definitely just go with iron sights. So that is going to be my verdict on early rounds. They are both pretty decent weapons. It all comes down to really personal preference. They are basically going to be identical, especially since early round zombies' health aren't that high, so you really don't need one that's going to do a lot of damage. But once you get to mid rounds, you're definitely going to want to have the Ballista, and then once you get to like round 1,000,000, the KAR98 is going to be the greatest weapon of all time. So that is going to be it for this video. Let me know in the comments which weapon do you guys prefer. It better be the KAR98 or you will probably get blocked. I'm just kidding, I would never do that to you guys. I'm just going to mute you guys so that way you guys can never comment ever again. Because not liking the KAR98 is basically blasphemy, and I will not accept that on this Christian Minecraft server. So like I said before, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and real quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome and sexy as hell. I know I've been slacking a lot with the Patreon stuff. Like I said before, I've just been going through a lot of shit in the past fucking month, or hell, even 2 months, and it's just been taking up all my time trying to get shit sorted out, so I will definitely try to do my best to get more stuff out for you guys. I'm thinking maybe in the next month or two, I'm going to start doing like Patreon play days or something like that. Maybe like me and Patreons getting on a Discord chat and play some games, or on a live stream playing with a bunch of Patreons. Something like that is definitely something I can see myself doing in the near future. So if you want to be a Patreon supporter, go and check it out. The link will be right down there in the description. And also, while you're down there, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want to keep up to date with me and basically make fun of my bald head. Go ahead and follow me down there, and also check out my sponsors, Cougar Gaming and Into the AM. Cougar Gaming has the world's greatest mouse. Check it out. Into the AM has some pretty badass t-shirts. Totally recommend. Use code RABBIT for 10% off. And lastly, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.